Welcome back to Fantasy Football RPG, your go-to source for all things fantasy football. Join us for expert analysis, top strategies, and the latest insights to help you dominate your league. Let's level up your game and dive into the nitty-gritty. Without further ado, let's get the action.
Welcome back to another episode of Fantasy Football RPG. I am your host, co-host, and mustached man, Mike Kashuba. I am joined by David Latham, manager of Last Word on Pro Football. David, how are you?
Can't complain. How about you, Mike?
Oh, just scrumptious because I get to see Evan today. Evan is our Dynasty whiz, our scout wizard, and the nicest boy you know. Evan, say something nice about Diontae Johnson.
He's getting paid a lot of money, and he is not having to work very hard for that money, which must be amazing.
Yeah. No, he exists. I think he goes to practice still. If you're watching this video and you want to know what to do with Diontae Johnson in Dynasty Fantasy Football, luckily I have people smarter than me here because I have signed Diontae Johnson merch because I'm a big dummy. So, David, tell me why I'm not a dummy.
Well, you're a dummy for the signed Diontae Johnson thing. There's no way around that. But you're not a dummy because he's a free agent at the end of the year, and surely he can't be this bad everywhere.
See, you say that. But he could. He definitely could. Evan, listen, so he is valued as the wide receiver 66 from our friends over at Fantasy Calc. He is the wide receiver 67 on the year, so that lines up pretty well. 73rd in points per game. He's a free agent in 2025, but he's basically free. When you're trying to figure out what to acquire him for, the calculator stops working because they're they need to give you something on top of Diontae Johnson to take up the roster spot. So is he worth acquiring and why?
Yeah, I mean, exactly what David already set out there. Free agent end of the season, so that is huge. Don't be concerned because Harbaugh came out when they traded for him and even said, hey, he's our backup replacement for Zay Flowers. Zay hasn't been able to stay healthy his entire career, so why would you, as a playoff potential Super Bowl contender, not want to have something secured to be able to do that? Everybody in that offense has very specific roles. If you watch that offense, you can very quickly determine what everybody's roles are and what they're going to be doing. So yeah, Diontae Johnson plays the Zay Flowers role. And last time I checked, through the first 4 weeks with Baltimore, he had 19 snaps through the first 4 weeks there. Obviously, he's gotten a couple more recently.
He got zero last week.
He got zero against the Eagles.
I said a couple, all right.
Zero is less than a couple.
Zero is not a couple.
Fine. All right, guys. You're right. But hope is on the horizon. The sun is shining somewhere. Maybe California for Diontae Johnson to be able to go to. A lot of teams out there that could use a wide receiver. So buy him on the fact that he's probably going to have a new destination next year.
Yep. I think
he's still good.
If your league does not have trade deadlines, you can acquire him for basically anything. You can give up Gus Edwards and probably get Diontae Johnson in a third. There are opportunities here where you can trade trash that is not going to be useful in the future and get this lottery ticket. There's two ways this lottery ticket pays out for you. One, he signed somewhere exciting. There's a little bump, and you can just turn around and sell him for more than you bought him for. That's one way to go about it. Two, I'm going to throw out a couple of teams here that have plenty of cap space in 2025. The New England Patriots. If he goes there, he's immediately their best receiver by a lot. The Las Vegas Raiders. Brock Bowers is the target hog there, but Diontae Johnson could definitely do a ton of good work there. Washington Commanders, he could be the two across from Terry. The Chargers, he could do a lot of things that Quentin Johnston cannot, although Ladd McConkey is the top dog and Dads for Ladd is alive and well. There are a ton of good landing spots for a receiver that has Diontae Johnson's skill set. So maybe he comes back to being relevant. He didn't forget how to run routes. He just forgot how to be a good human and is trying to fight his coach in the locker room. Do you guys have thoughts on any of those? What's your favorite landing spot for Diontae Johnson?
Of the ones you listed, I'd probably go with the Patriots. Drake May is legit. They're going to spend, I mean, I think they're going to get someone better than Diontae Johnson, but they might get like T. Higgins and Diontae Johnson. Like, he's having an all-time bad contract year. Like, this is the exact opposite of like play for your money. I think it's going to have to be a 1-year, very low-cost deal. So I think really all 32 teams could afford him because he'll get nothing. But if he does get more than I anticipate, I think he'd do a good job as like the second in New England because they need a lot. Kayshon Boutte is like strictly a merchant of opportunity. As an actual football player, he's not very good. He's just the only one on offense that knows where Drake May wants to throw the football. Demario Douglas, he's shown some stuff, but like the connection just isn't there. They've had a few misses, a few interceptions where like Pop is just running the wrong route. Like there's no way around it.
Yep.
Jalen Pope, you never want to give up on a guy after one season. I am giving up on him after one season. It's over. So New England needs a real star receiver like a Higgins, maybe a Chris Godwin, but they also need a second guy like Diontae. Drake May is more than good enough to feed guys like that. He's making it work with the worst offensive line in football and a bottom 5 supporting cast. I think May could bring out the best in Diontae.
Evan, any other landing spots you want to call out?
Can I have him go to the Raiders?
Yeah.
Like the
Wish
Raiders,
granted. You're welcome.
the Raiders desperately need some playmakers because Brock Bowers is trying to solo one-man army this offense to any kind of relevance. They desperately need a quarterback. And what's a quarterback's best friend? A wide receiver that can create separation, get open.
Mm-hmm. Well, Diontae Johnson is no one's best friend because he tries to fight his quarterbacks.
Yeah. Yeah, no, honestly, the Raiders would worry me just because Jacoby Myers is there already. And, like, yes, they're different players, but they do similar things. Like, Bowers is going to be a superstar. That's not up for debate. Myers, I feel, is really locked in as the number 2. He's always been a guy who's been better off as the second best option you have. So, like, what does that leave Diontae Johnson with a bad quarterback? Because the Raiders probably aren't figuring that out in the offseason.
He could be the third best quarterback for Shadur, or receiver for Shadur Sanders. Can't wait. I want to call out one more thing, and then I want to play a little game with you and figure out what is the biggest thing that you'd be willing to trade for Diontae Johnson.
Before we do that, Mike, is there something you got to remind everyone?
Oh, yeah. Hey, guys, listen, we're 7 minutes in. If you could like and subscribe, because then I will remember to ask you to like and subscribe. We're trying to hit 1,000 subs. That would rule. You guys rule. Listen, we're doing this for free, and because Evan is paying me to hang out with him. So if you want to save Evan some money, let YouTube pay us. Like, subscribe, leave a comment of some other players that you're nervous about. Like, we'll get around to them and make sure that we give you the most actionable information possible. Let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys. They would love to land a free agent that is like kind of splashy, that everyone's going to talk about. You could just see all of the morning show hosts being like, oh, is he going to fit into the locker room? Like, Jerry Jones loves the drama, and Diontae Johnson brings the drama with him. I think that it makes a ton of sense. It's a high-volume passing offense. They need a wide receiver, too. They're rolling out the ghost of Brandon Cooks, and then I had to learn Kevontae Turpin's name because he plays for them. Please stop putting Jalen Tolbert on my screen other than for kick returns. Let's get Diontae Johnson over to Dallas. Now let's play a game. Evan, Diontae Johnson, or a 2024 fourth? Or 2025 fourth?
Diontae Johnson.
David?
Diontae Johnson. I'm not thinking too hard about it.
All right. What if I make it a third?
Now I'm thinking about it, but
there it is.
I'm still going Diontae.
Okay.
I think that is a genuine toss-up.
Okay. Diontae Johnson, or here's a fun name that's right by him, Christian Kirk.
I'm going to go Kirk.
You know what? I'll take Diontae. Yeah. I had to think about that. I'm pretty down on Kirk, so coming off the injury is going to be rough.
Yeah. I think the Jags have invested enough in their receiver room. Like, they probably feel good about it. I don't think they bring in another body there, so Kirk's going to continue to be the slot merchant. I would go with Kirk, but it is close.
Yeah. And Kirk's another one of those better off as the second best, and Brian Thomas is going to be the best.
Oh, yeah. And then one last name to make David sad. This is the wide receiver 73 on Fantasy Calc. Jalen Polk or Diontae Johnson?
All they had to do was just draft McConkey and not trade back. It was right there. He's a white slot receiver. How did the Patriots not draft him?
That would have been nasty. So that's Diontae Johnson for you, Evan.
Yep.
Diontae Johnson.
We know Diontae Johnson is good at football. We just need to figure out if he can get his head on straight. Hopefully you get your head on straight and you like, subscribe, and listen to more of our videos. David, great work tonight. Evan, I love you.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Football RPG Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at FFRPGPod and at FFMikeCash with a K. Don't let the goblins get you. We'll see you next week.